Hey everyone, it's David the Cartoon Guy, and I'm here with somewhat of a different video than what I normally do. Now, I'm pretty sure that a lot of you are aware of the Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 leaked cover, and we noticed that certain characters like Jimmy Neutron, which I think is great, Raphael, I think a Squidward, you can see like the top of Squidward's head, so that'll be great. But you also noticed Vlad Plasmius in the background. And since Vlad was in the background, that got me thinking, could Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 have a story mode? And I honestly would like to see it have a story mode. Because, like I said before, Vlad wasn't like with the other characters, he was in the background. So this could possibly mean that the game would have a story mode, and Vlad would serve as the main antagonist. Or he could be one of the main antagonists. I think it would be good to have other villains in the game besides Vlad, because there already are other villains in the game, well, from the first game. Zim and Shredder. Zim and Shredder were in the first game, and I imagine that they would be coming back to the second game. So I think it would be really cool to have them work alongside Vlad if the game does end up having a story. But what could the story mode be about? Well, like I said before, we could have Nicktoons villains join forces, and possibly some other villains besides Vlad, Zim, and Shredder. I'll get to those in a bit. And let's say that they have created evil clones of the heroes. Similar to how in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate World of Light, where Gleam has, you know, created puppets, I think that's what they're called, that were essentially clones of the characters. Honestly, I think that would be pretty cool. And also the Nicktoons heroes have been captured, much like how Professor Calamitous captured them in Attack of the Toybots. And it's up to SpongeBob to go and save them. Now, I mean, it could be somebody other than SpongeBob. It could be like you could have any Nicktoons hero start off as the starter character, but I said SpongeBob because it's SpongeBob. And you also could unlock more heroes as you progress through the game's story, much like how in World of Light. Because I remember in World of Light, you start off with Kirby, and then I think you unlocked Mario, and then like as you progress through the game, you unlock more characters. And once a villain is defeated, you could play as them. I'd imagine like villains would be unlocked for both the story mode and free play mode. And as you go through the game and you beat the villains, let's say every now and then you take on a villain as a boss. Once that villain is defeated, you're able to play as them. I think that could work out pretty cool. So, on the subject of villains, what other villains could possibly work alongside Vlad, Zim, and Shredder? Well, I thought of a few. Now, obviously, we would need... Hold on a second here. Sorry, it's blurred. There we go. Plankton. Now, obviously, we gotta have Plankton, because it's Plankton. And I'd imagine Plankton would be in a robotic suit. He wouldn't just, you know, just be teeny tiny Plankton just walking around. He'd have a robotic suit. And another villain I think would be great would be Professor Calamitous, because since Jimmy's going to be in the game, I think we should also have Professor Calamitous. And he would be in a robotic suit too, specifically the robotic suit he has in the show. Also, I think Azula would be a good villain, because we already have a couple of Avatar characters for the game, and I think Azula would be great because, you know, she's a firebender. And also, since Jenny is already in the game, we could have Vexus, who is the main antagonist of My Life as a Teenage Robot. I think that would be pretty fun. But I think these villains have a pretty good shot, but I also want to go over a couple of villains I'd like to see personally. I'm not sure they have much of a good shot getting into the game, but I just personally would like to see them get into the game. So the first villain I would really like to see get in the game, but not likely to get in the game, is Crocker, The reason I put Crocker down as unlikely is because of Nelvana. You know how Nelvana is responsible for distributing the Fairly Odd Parents outside of the U.S. In fact, for those of you who don't know, because of Nelvana, the Fairly Odd Parents was actually on Disney Channel in some countries outside of the U.S. Pretty interesting. Another villain I would really like to see, but is not likely, is Snaptrap from Tough Puppy. I just love Tough Puppy, and I just would really like to see Snaptrap in the game. I think he would have enough. I think, like, the boxing glove that he has, that he hits Dudley with in the intro, I think that could be one of his moves. Another villain that probably isn't likely, but I would still love to see, is Scrawl from Chalk Zone, because I remember another leaked image of Snap in the game, and, I mean, I love Chalk Zone, so I would personally love to see Snap in the game, and throw in Scrawl, too, as one of the villains. Plus, Scrawl was voiced by Jim Cummings, who's the voice of Cat, who's already in the game, so, I mean, it's not like voice acting would be an issue when it comes to that. And another villain that doesn't seem very likely, but I think would be pretty fun, is Simon the Monster Hunter from Real Monsters. The reason I put Simon down as a villain for the game is because, well, Oblina was in the first game, and I'm not sure a lot of people were expecting Oblina to be in the first game, but hey, since we already have Oblina in the game, we could throw in Simon the Monster Hunter as another Real Monsters character. I think that would be pretty fun. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have in terms of what I would kind of like to see for Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2. Well, if the game ends up having a story, and honestly, I really do think that they should have more villain characters, because the only two villains from the first game were Zim and Shredder, and since Vlad is supposed to be in the game, I think it would be great to have other villains besides Vlad. But yeah, that's pretty much all. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you soon.